Hello, hello, everybody. Apologize for the people who see me. For the sun is just streaming today on my face, but it's okay. You guys can still see me. It's so nice out, so I can't get mad at that. But apologies for being a little late. As you know, I'm kind of a technical klutz, so everything froze at like 5:55. So, you know me, I had to wait till the last minute and then I had to restart everything. So now here we are. But it's okay. It's okay. It's Sunday. It's Easter. Hope everybody's having a great Easter and a safe one at that. I know I saw, I think last week Governor Murphy released some restrictions, like a little bit. But you know, as soon as these governors release things, everybody kind of goes crazy. So be careful still. It's still some cases rising. We're still in COVID, but I hope everybody's enjoying their Easter, whether you're, young, playing with Easter egg hunt, or you're home and you're cooking with family or whatnot. But yes, happy Resurrection Day to that. I can't believe it's April already. I feel like I say this every week, but I really do feel like these months are going by really fast, which is cool. But at the same time, I'm like, I still want to enjoy, the time at hand. But in any event, let me get my uh, updates out the way before we start. I know I'm a little late, so I apologize. So first things first, welcome to another episode of Pure Sessions. It's your girl Lana here. This is episode 29. Here we go. I think for a minute. Episode 29. For this week, I mentioned last week when I said I had a special guest, which, I didn't have one last week, but I have another special guest who's going to be coming on in a bit. So the title of this episode is Flourishing Footsteps. And with that title, that's not something I came up with. The guest I have coming on, that's actually her podcast. So I have another podcaster, Potter, whatever, I still don't know whatever you call it, coming on soon. And that's the title of her podcast, Flourishing Your Footprints. And you can find her, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud. She kind of uses the same apps I use. Like I mentioned, I use Anchor for my podcast, and it distributes it to different platforms. So she uses the same, and you can find her at Taj Norm, which is TAHJNORM. And I have it in the title, so you'll be able to find it as well too, and as well as her Instagram handle, same name. But yeah, so she'll be joining us soon for the people on YouTube, on Instagram in a bit. I told her to come on a little bit because I wanted to do my little intro like I normally do. So that would be pretty cool. And I mentioned 2 weeks ago that I was trying to expand on having guests on my show because, as you guys know, it's normally just me on here talking for forever and a day. But I'm trying to expand on the guests. So I had one on last week and I have one on this week. And have one coming up soon. So, it's good things happening. Things take time. And I learned that the hard way that even though you want things, right away, that you want it to happen right now, it happens, in its own journey, in its own time. So with that being said, this episode, last week's episode was like 2 hours, which is cool because the conversation is fun. But since this is Easter, and everybody's with their family or at church or just at home, I'm not going to make this. I'll try not to make this one too long, depending on what it's about and where it goes. Like I said, it's just going to be a flow conversation, kind of like two girlfriends talking. So I don't want to take up too much of your Easter, but I do appreciate, like I say every week, those who do tune in and who listen and stream, and I do see you, so I appreciate that greatly. So it won't be too long, because like I said, it's Easter. I definitely knew it was real when I went earlier to get my refresher that I have over here from Starbucks, and Target was closed. I had to get something at Target's, and they were closed, so it's real, which is good. I really think more stores, companies should be closed on these holidays, because one day will be fine. I think this day of all days is a day of worship, a day of praise, and a day of reflecting because Jesus has risen. And I think we can kind of take the time to just be grateful for not just only what today is, but as well as having family, your health, your sense of being, your mind, all that other things. So I thought that was pretty different to see that they were actually closed, because I used to work in retail and we never closed, especially on a Sunday. So I thought that was pretty cool. But what else? So I had a special guest coming on. It's episode 29, Real Sessions. And like I said, I'm not going to make it too long because it is Sunday and Tuesday. And as you can see from the shining light beaming on my forehead, it is still gorgeous out. So, and the rest of the week, I feel like we're finally getting into the spring of things. But no, but yeah, so I think it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so as you guys know, also since using Anchor, it only allows me to record 30 minutes and then I have to stop and start again. So hopefully I will make it not too long, maybe like 45 minutes or so. And like I said, I'm still new to this having special guests thing on. Like I said, it's just been me this whole time. So I don't want to make it like too interviewy, but I'll try to make it flow. Have her speak and things like that. And fun fact, and I'll mention this later when she comes on. Um, we met, so to speak, virtually through our Bible study. As you guys know, I do my Bible study on my Zoom with my sister girls group, and I'll put that in the link every Wednesday. And there's different people all over the place, not just in Jersey, but all over different states and things like that. And we meet every Wednesday at 6 on Zoom. And you have females in there who are married, dating fiancés, working in school, have their own businesses. And she also, like I said, has her own podcast, which I didn't know about. So, as we started talking, and I said, oh, a better way to, grow her platform and grow my platform, supporting sisters, things like that, than to have her on the show. And I figured it would be a great way for her to discuss what she does, the title, where it came from, things like that, instead of having me rant, like I normally do. And I had another topic before this week's topic that I wanted to discuss, but I got pushed back because I had this special guest on last week, and I had a special guest on this week. So when I think I have it pushed to next week, we'll dive right into that because that's something I've been wanting to talk about for like about a month or so now, especially with me not being on social media that much anymore outside of doing a podcast. So I'm looking forward to that. I kind of did like a little bit of planning because I normally don't like to plan what I'm going to talk about, but I got excited when I did a little bit of my planning for the next few months of topic wise, and some of the titles that I picked kind of not just things that I have been wanting to talk about, but just things that I've noticed that's going on, around the world. So I'll be excited about that. But yeah, so she'll be coming on in a bit. Like I'm not really sure how the joining lives works, for people who are watching on Instagram. I like watch people's lives, but I've never really seen how you like accept people to come in. So maybe she'll know how to do it, hopefully. But I hope everybody has had a great week. Easter for some reason came a little early this year. I really thought it was the second week of April, but I feel like it always changes every year. I don't know. It was kind of a weird day. The first was a Thursday, so. But I don't know about you guys, but I am happy that it is getting warmer. Like I said before, I've been doing my runs and my walks. I took a little break this week because I've kind of been doing a lot. Pushing myself more than what was needed. And I was noticing that I was getting a little more winded or winded after the fact versus before the fact, if that makes sense. Like, when you like start like, at 100% day one, instead of like pacing yourself as you're supposed to when you do something new. That's what I did. So for like 2 weeks, I was doing 2 miles. And then like the third week till recently, I was doing 5 miles a day. And I was like, okay, this is not working because I feel like I'm like not getting out of breath more quickly, but just felt like things weren't right. Like I felt like I was pushing my heart too much. You know what I mean? So I had to take a break for a couple of days. And it felt weird because my alarm would still go off in the morning. And I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm not going today. Oh, wait, I'm not going today. And I would try normally. It's warmish, but it's not like warm. Let's say 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Try to start running around then, and it'd be done by like 2. Well, 1, because the moms and the kids and the pets, dog walkers are out in the park, and it gets a little crowded. And for me, where I live, the parks, you still have to wear your masks, even though you're outside. You still have to wear your mask when you enter the parks. And for me, it's a little hard to like jog and work out with the masks on. So I try to get in the beginning of the day versus like middle of the day because parents are there with their kitties and stuff like that. So I don't want to like put them at harm's way and put me at harm's way and things like that. So yes, I took a couple days off, but I'm going to start back up tomorrow. Maybe not do 5 miles every single day. Maybe go back down to my like 3.5 miles or so and go from there. Just to build it up. I know people say, oh, I want that summer body and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I just want to be healthy. I'm like one of those people that I just want to be healthy. So I'm kind of seeing a little bit of results, but not so much. Like certain clothes that didn't fit for like a minute are somewhat sort of trying to fit. Like I know when I've lost weight, I know when I'm doing, like I'm going on the right path, it's when I don't have to like jump up and down to put my clothes on anymore. You know, like when you have jeans or leggings, because all I wear is leggings. I don't like jeans that are too tight. And I feel like every pair I put on, I'm always having to like, jump up and down. And what the song say is true. Girls who have big hips and big butt, they do have to jump up and down. And not like to be fresh or anything. It's just what it is. So I'll know when I've lost something or something to celebrate when every pair of clothes I don't need to do that. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm just talking, rambling as I do, until she comes on. But yeah, so like I said, it is Easter. I hope you guys are with family, or if you have to work, I'm sorry. I hope you'll get off soon and spend some time with the family. And not just with the family part, but also just remembering and realizing what today is. A lot of people, not with Easter, but I've noticed, especially when I was younger, I'd be like, oh my God, I have a day off. Oh my God, I have a long weekend, or like more weekend, or Labor Day weekend, or whatnot. And people, I was guilty of it, would not realize why we have these days off, like, that Friday to Monday weekend versus just being, oh, I have a day off. But no, there's a reason why I have a day off because of what happened, during these days. And I just hope, and I hate to preach, like my grandma says, and I hate to preach, we realize what today is and not take it for granted and realize that today is a day of celebration amidst, you know, all that's going on in the world with COVID and um, not the president. I came into the president now, but the president is not our previous president. But this is a lot going on. Sometimes we lose sight of that because all the days and months and weeks are rushing and combining together. So I just hope we just, breathe in, take a minute and just reflect and relax and, just enjoy life as it comes, because tomorrow's not promised. I mean, some more good, but tomorrow's not promised. And I just feel like, or at least where I am now, try to treasure or cherish every, the moment, that we have with family, with friends, your health. Like I said, you have a job, you may not be the job you want, but at least you have a job, and it's a steady paycheck. You don't have to worry about, when the bills, how the bills are getting paid, the next meal, things like that. There are people who aren't able to work, who haven't worked since COVID started. Same with me. I haven't worked since COVID started. And what was it? I made a year last month because I used to work in retail, so I couldn't work in retail now because I live at home with my parents. I didn't want to put them, in harm's way. So there are people, not that the people who are worse off than me are better off than me, but there are people who haven't worked or who just aren't on unemployment or welfare or aren't getting any money or funding, things like that, or just literally living check to check and waiting. So I pray and I'm grateful that I was able to still am able to be on unemployment this long. Like I said, it's been this long, and it sucks because I'm not at work seeing other people having my day change versus the same things. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be healthy and be at home versus putting people and myself and family members in harm's way just to have a paycheck. So at the end of the day, retail will always be there, even though there are some stores who are closed and businesses that are not doing as well. Retail will always be there from now to any time. So it's not like, you can't find that job again. And I had to tell myself that over and over again. I'm like, oh, it's not fair. I'm home. I need to be working, can do other stuff. It's annoying, blah, blah, blah. It's having a little mini tantrum moment. But I had to sit back and realize and be like, hey, I could be worse off, or we could be worse off. And I feel like I wanted to be thankful and grateful for what I had during the time being versus saying, oh, I want more and more and more. So I did a little reflection myself, like I always say, and I just realized it's not worth it, to put me or my family at harm just for a paycheck. And it's funny, saving more money not working at home, being on employment than I was working the type of job I had, So, I mean, as I said, I'm praying every day that it just keeps on coming so I can save enough and, just be comfortable. And like I said, not being able to work since last March has allowed me to do other things, like start the podcast or write my book or, focus more on my music and things like that, which I didn't have the time to do back when I was working 8-9 hours a day. You know what I mean? So I just try to be grateful for what I have, even though it's the same type of schedule. But let me see how this works. So bear with me. Let's see. So now I have Taj and I'm joining us for the people on YouTube and for the listeners. Just bear with me. Hey girl, hey. Can you hear me? My phone is being weird. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear you. Let me just turn this up real quick. Turn the camera. Here we go. All right. So I kind of gave like a little intro of who you are and, my show and what I did. So I've talked enough for like 15 minutes. So I'm going to let you talk and tell the viewers, what you like to say. And then we can just vibe from there. I was saying that since it's Easter, I didn't want to make and take up too much of your time. I know people are kind of doing their own thing. So I gave my little speech. So you're welcome to say you can say, your name, what you do, how we met. I kind of told the viewers that, but it's cool. You can say the same thing. Like, it's no problem.
So, I am Cosmo, and I am an author, podcaster, publicist, and various other titles. And I'm so grateful to be here. And I met Lana who brought up Bible study, and my friend Rihanna had jumped on here. She is as well. So that's really how I got to know her. And I am from Central New Jersey. I'm 23. I attend Louis State University. I'm about to graduate in May with my bachelor's degree in communication. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just going to leave the rest up to you, Lana.
It's pretty cool. It's sad to say I don't really miss school because I just graduated, 2 years ago? And I didn't miss it then, and I don't miss it now. But that's really good for you. I'm happy for you. No, that sounds crazy. But I never was a person who got school. I'm one of those who rather do what I'm learning versus just sitting learning what I'm learning, if that makes sense. So I kind of was like, why am I here? But it's cool. It's okay. So I put the flyer out. I'm sorry about that typo. And I just saw that when you wrote that. And I didn't notice it when I was looking at it for a day. So but yeah, that's pretty cool. So I was saying to the viewers earlier before you came on, where we met on Bible study, and I didn't know that you did your own podcast. I think to one week we were talking about something, and then you mentioned the podcast. I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know if you mentioned it on our call, but how long have you been doing the podcast, and where did the title come from, and the journey it took you, to want to be your own, I guess, entrepreneur, as they say.
Got you. So I started the podcast May 1st of 2020. So I'm going on a year shortly next month.
Yeah.
And the name that came from when I pulled an all-nighter, because I think I have insomnia, but my parents say I never had it. I just can never sleep at night. So
same.
One
Yeah.
night around, right? So one night around this time last year, I was just up really late, and I was just thinking, I always wanted to start a podcast. It crossed my mind, but I never thought I could be consistent with it because I already had a lot of my plate with school and everything. So that's when I just thought, okay, I always loved the word flourish and how it sounded, and then that's when I thought of footprints, and it all kind of just came to me I'm one of those people where it's I come up with bomb ideas at 3 a.m. and it really just blows my mind. And before that, I actually had another name of mine called the Behind Dreamers podcast, but it just wasn't flowing for me like that. And then at first, before the footprints, I thought maybe Flourishing Footsteps, and then I was like, no, footprints, and then I got some feedback. I'm like, what sounds right? Flourishing Footprints or Footsteps? And then I kept saying it, and I was like, well, Footsteps gotta go. That's when Footprints really sounded better to me. And I actually ended up getting an opportunity through GoFest TV at my school, and they're really like a media platform where they get different students to showcase their talents, and they ended up being my state Footprints. So yeah, it all worked out. So that's really just the gist of how it started.
Oh, okay. Well, see, you put my journey to shame. No, I'm just kidding. But I actually, like I mentioned, on the Bible study, I'm not a very good public speaker, and I still struggle with that, with the eye contact and speaking loud and enunciating, because I'm like, everybody's looking at me. Stop looking at me. So with the podcast, actually throughout the weeks of doing it, I've kind of noticed a little bit that I have a little more confidence in what I'm talking about, whether I'm just rambling or actually talking about something. So for you to go through all of that and still have this confidence, and every day I'm like, don't look at me on the camera, it's very encouraging, especially seeing young African-American women trying to do the same thing that others are doing. And I feel like with certain, at least with my experience, with certain venues or routes that we go down, we're told to you should stay in this thing, you should be doing this, and not wanting to branch out to do different things. without being told like it's not kind of your thing. And like I said, I'm not really one of those people who want like the spotlight on me, or I should say the viewers on me. I'm kind of like the behind the scenes, behind the curtains crew type person. But with doing the podcast, I've actually seen me, I guess this is the confidence thing. Like my confidence is being built, my self-esteem is being built. And I was always one of those people who were shy or like a people watcher, not really like, hey, look at me. So it's been pretty fun, and I've gotten good feedback from it. I mean, I've started recently too, actually this year. What month is this? Wait a minute. August. I think that's when I started, or sometime last year. I don't even remember, but it's been pretty fun, and I like it. So you're like my first. Well, I had a guest on last week, but you're like my first like real guest. So so it's pretty cool. I like it. And with Pure Sessions, I'm not going to really talk about me this whole time, I promise. But with Pure Sessions, before it was just Lana and Pure's podcast, but Pure Sessions kind of came to me in the new year when I cut off social media. Like I'm not on social media at all, besides doing the podcast every week. So like at all. And I noticed when I came back from the new year that nothing changed. I didn't miss anything. Everybody's still doing the same thing or trying to change and blah, blah, blah. And Pure Sessions kind of just came to me one day. I was praying. And I was like, I just want like calmness and purity around me, like the vibes and the energy. That name just kind of came from like pure to like sessions, kind of like a chill vibe out kind of thing. I don't know, it just kind of just like combined, and that kind of just went with that. I don't know, it's probably more, yours is kind of a little bit more deeper than mine, but that's kind of just where it came from. So I kind of just combined the two. And, you know, I tried to not make my podcast more so like a scheduled podcast, just kind of like a flowing type of thing. You know, it's just me talking, the topics and the stuff I want to discuss is kind of more like a conversation piece, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I've listened to a couple of yours, which sounds like that too. So I was like, okay, somebody's doing something right. But no, but I meant to ask you kind of before you told me that they're short. Is there a reason why you make them, you know, not like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like normal, not normal, but like more podcasts versus just like a 5-minute thing? Or is that just... Okay.
It's really just I don't have time to do like the whole thing. And plus, I feel like people listen more when something's straight to the point and short and sweet. Because I know, at least for myself, when I listen to podcasts or just watching anything where it takes long to see it through the end, I kind of get bored and fast forward. Or I'll just be like, all right, like get to the point. So I'm just like to be a real straightforward person. But yeah, a lot of people ask me that, and I'm just like, you know, like I said, I just don't have the time. I feel like you'll get more listenership when something short and sweet, because, you know, people are so on the go with so many things grab their attention.
Yeah. So that means I should probably cut mine down from like an hour, right? To like 15 minutes.
If it's working for you, don't think it.
That's true. I guess I just have a lot to say. I don't know. Maybe I think I have a lot to say, but I feel like if I'm just talking for like 5 minutes, then I'll just keep talking, because when I start out with the topic, like social media for the week, I'll be talking about a bunch of different things, and it's like a half an hour later. So I think I just start one spot and then just go somewhere else. But like I said, whatever works for you, that works for you. So maybe I should try that, because Lord knows I can use the time to not be editing for like an hour, because I do all this stuff myself. I edit everything, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. So trying.
If you took that leap of faith though too, right? Most people, they look to start and be like, I'm too scared to, I don't know what I'm doing. So I definitely commend you for that. That's what's up.
Thank you. And it's funny, I was on another podcast last summer, Therapy About Degree podcast, which kind of was like the backbone for me wanting to start. And I was seeing how him and his, you know, crew would have the equipment and microphones and headphones and this cool lights in the background. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I was like, how do you do that? So I kind of had, with his help, and I kind of been doing it myself. But I don't have like everything. I just have like my phone, my laptop, and like some headphones. But I'm learning slowly. And in my room, that's the thing. They have a studio, and I'm kind of just like in this box. That's why you just see this little corner. But I'm trying. So when you do your show, are you at home, or is it kind of just like on the go? Because I know it's audio, so you're not live, right? Or is it just audio when you do yours?
Yeah, it's mostly audio, but it depends on where I'm at. Like, majority of the time it's home. But if I'm out and, you know, I'm in a quiet spot and I need to record, where I just like, okay, I'm not doing anything right now. Like, I could be in the car,
yeah,
you know, anywhere. And I'll just think, like, okay, if it's Monday and it airs Friday, why wait till last minute? I'm going to quiet spot, why not just write it and record it so it's ready?
So do you like think of the stuff you're going to say, or is it kind of like just like how you feeling, you want to just like spit it for a bit, or is it like certain things like each week type of thing for your show, like your episodes?
I would say these are things that like I talk about with my friends and family a lot, and plus it's like a lot of times it's really just what my spirit tells me to put out. Like I'll just think like somebody need to hear this, or I'll even think of a whole different topic, and then someone will say like, "Nah, put that today." Somebody need to hear it. So, yeah, I just really go off what I think would encourage other people and things that I wish I knew. Yeah. So yeah, I really think that it really just flows that way, and it works out for me because a lot of people say that they enjoy it, encourages them. So that makes me feel good because it's like whenever you put out something, you want to make sure you have positive feedback. Right. So, right. Really, it was a good thing for me.
So have you had? I mean, I know it's a weird question, but like, have you had any people saying like, "Oh, she don't know what you're talking about. She's just so and so"? Because I've had people say that. I'm like, I just started. Don't come at me. But I mean, you gotta have like that. I guess that thick skin because everybody's not going to agree with what you have to say, and it's not like that's not the point. But the point is just what I'm saying is what I'm feeling, and like you said, what I'm saying hopefully can touch somebody in that spew of people just because some people don't want to hear what you have to say, even though it's what they need to hear. So for me,
right,
and I'm like, I'm just here. And I always say in the beginning, these are just my views and my opinion. It's not like the right way or the wrong way or this is that. But some people kind of feel like you're just attacking them. But I'm just speaking on what I feel that needs to be said at the time being. For me personally, because I'm like sensitive. I'm like, don't come at me. But that's just me. I don't know if that's you.
Yeah, but to answer your question though, nobody ever said this. I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And even somebody did say that to me. I'm like, wait, pause. You took time out of your day to listen to my podcast. So we really don't know what they're talking about.
True. That's true. You take the time to listen to it.
Yeah, so I'm just like, if you think I don't know what I'm talking about, what do you keep coming back every week listening for? So you're trying to make me look stupid, but really you look stupid because, I said something you want to hear.
True.
So that's how I look at it. And then I usually get really good feedback from it, but somebody has told me before, like, you becoming a little strong on your podcast. Like, I felt like you was spoke right to my situation. And I'm like, oh, wow, like, I got some prophecy going on. But I'm just really enjoying doing it, though, because it's just like, either way, like, there's always going to be somebody who likes what you do and somebody who doesn't like what you do. So it really doesn't matter. Just hearing that, oh, I needed this, or that really encouraged me. That's all that matters to me. But, the critics and everything, you're stuck to them out because they're always going to be there.
That's true. And do you think, because I know on our Bible study you've spoken about a lot going on with faith and trying to like balance school with what you said and life and work and things like that. Do you sometimes feel, it's like a little question, but like if, like, because with me, with my faith that I'm learning more of, I kind of like try to incorporate it with some of the episodes. I kind of like try to pray before the show, pray during the show, and pray after the show. But sometimes it's like I don't want to do it. Like there's some Sundays where I'm like, I wish I could just do audio and just call it a day. But I feel like with the live, it's a little more personable. So is the question in that is, with me, I try to have my faith surrounding me to lift me up to do the show. But sometimes it's like, I don't want to be bothered. And I'm like, well, that's not the right way to go about it. Because it's like, you have something to say, what's on your heart. And maybe, like you said, somebody wanted to hear it. And sometimes we got to push ourselves past that sluggish, feeling. So I don't know. It's just me. Sometimes you have the lazy, hazy days, or you got to push through it. Because yours are short. Mine are like an hour and a half. So I'm like, but that's my thing. So I'm trying to like find the balance between, like you said, cutting to the point, saying what I have to say, and also having that faith to keep me going. Because sometimes it's a struggle. So.
Mine are short, and I still know. So I think God's true.
All right. So, okay. So for the Instagram is going to keep recording because you use Anchor, right? For yours?
Yeah.
So, so on Anchor, it's about to be like 30 minutes. So I'm going to stop it on there, but we can still talk on here on YouTube. But that's the one thing I can't stand about Anchor. I wish it was longer, but I know yours is a little bit shorter, but I always say, I got to stop real quick. Just bear with me. But I'm going to stop this for a second and then we're going to continue it. So it's just going to be like quiet for like 2 seconds because it just doesn't like me. So, but But how was your Easter though? By the way,
Well,
did you
it's
do
going
anything
pretty
for
well.
Easter?
I had slept in finally.
Same here. Same
I woke
here.
up, it felt so good too. I don't get to sleep like that. It's like I do, but I don't. But yeah, I slept in. I tried to go to the gym, but they were closed, and they were closed early because of Easter. But I didn't even know. I totally forgot. So I went to the park and worked out.
See, I need that motivation.
Jogging, did some squat, came home. I tried to go to Bible study, but they ended up starting late, and it kind of ran into this. So I just got the pastor to send me the notes and everything, and that's really been my Sundays so far. I haven't really been too much.
Your Bible study? Who do you go to? Is it online or is it virtual, like Zoom? Your Bible study, or you go to like a church or something?
No, it used to be in person, but it's through my school, Blue State University, and it's called the Blue State Disciples. So before, so on campus, we'd be in the cafeteria and eat dinner every Sunday at 5.
Oh, okay.
But then COVID came, and now we just meet on Zoom.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I needed that motivation to work out. I haven't worked out, like I said earlier, since Thursday. I know that sounds like so far ago, but I'm like, I've just been tired. Because every day I jog or run fast, like 3 miles or so. But then I'm like, I'm not seeing any results. So I get frustrated. I'm like, it's not working. And I just got my hair done. So that was a dub. But I'm still trying to balance like working out and sticking to stuff. Because I'm one of those people who like, I want to do this right now. Then 2-3 months down the line, and it's just sitting in my room. So I'm trying to like not do that with this podcast or not do that with my music. Because there are days, like I said, I just feel like it's just not going anywhere. So I'm like, do you have any advice from one sister to another? What can keep you from feeling like, even though you're not seeing the results right away, they're coming and not losing that? Because I've been, like I said, I've had days where I'm like, this podcast, I'm not seeing any good results. Or with my book, I'm not seeing any sales. So I'm like, what? I know you said you wrote a book, right? Are you writing a book? You wrote a book. What's the title of your book? Both. Okay, cool. Okay, excuse me. No. But yeah, so like, do you have any advice even with the book sales? Because like I said, I wrote that last May after George Floyd was murdered, and the sales kind of been like fluctuating, but recently I haven't really seen anything. So like, I don't know, when you were going through your journey, did you have any doubts or did you have any like advice? Like, is it like it's coming around the corner type of thing? Because I'm like, I don't see it. What's happening? I know I have stuff to say, so I don't know.
Gotcha. With my first book, I already knew what I was going to say because it was an odd situation that came out of me being the author. And just to really give you the gist of it, I needed some money around the time, and I saw it was a poetry contest, and they were giving like $1,000 from mine. So that's when my eyes got big. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's big money to win, and I could do some poetry. So let me enter that contest, and then I found out it was a big contest. And that's when I had August poetry because you had to have at least like a 20-something page manuscript. What? So that's when so I was pissed. I'm like, I wrote August poetry for nothing. And then that's when my mom was saying, just keep it and why don't you make that your first book? And I just thought, like, I never thought of that being my first book, but I guess. And then that's when that ended up being a Books of the World because all the poetry was about me, and then I just came up with a title. Okay. And there was no issues with that because it's kind of like bittersweet that situation happened. Right. So that ended up being my first book. But with the second book,
you wrote the second one. See, I'm slacking. Yes. Anyway, go ahead, girl. My bad.
No, everybody's journey is different. So with the second book, there was actually like 3 stories that didn't make it before that one because I was just writing, and these were like some bogus, bizarre stories. Like I was writing just up late, and I'm just like, okay, let me use my imagination, and then I got writer's block about 3 times because it was one story about a guy that was staying with his sister, and then that's when I was like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Because it was like, as I kept writing, I'm like, this is boring. And then and then there was maybe like a couple others, and then that's when 2020 Vision that came, and that actually came from one night I was in my dorm at Blue State, and I was there by myself. My roommate wasn't there for days, so I was up late just like thinking, and I was looking through my camera roll, and I had saw a picture. It was like a really old picture from like 15 years ago of me, my mom, one of my cousins, and it was like at a birthday party from my aunt's because she lived to see 100, and she was born on Christmas. Oh. So that's when that wasn't her 100th birthday on that picture. but she could probably close to it. But anyway, I was looking at that picture and I was just like, I can make a story out of this. And then that whole night, no lie, I don't know if it was like a spiritual moment, but I could not go to sleep for nothing. Yeah. And then that's when like something just kept telling me like, go to your laptop, write something. And then that's when I'm just like, I'm really writing, like I just want to go to sleep, I can't. And then that's when I just ended up just writing the first page of 2020 Vision in that moment. And I may be worried about like 1 or 2 pages, and then I could fall asleep, and I felt so much better afterwards. And I'm like, wow, this is really meant to be. And I just had a really good feeling about that one, because I'm like, I'm not gonna get writer's block on this story, because I'm telling you, it was just such a spiritual, weird feeling.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's like you said, everybody has their own journey. Yeah.
But I feel like that one was definitely meant to be, because you know, it was kind of weird. I was up late, I was by myself, and just looking through some old pictures, and just from that one story, or that one picture, I should say, a little 216-page novel came from that, and my first novel at that. So that was a huge honor. But to keep you encouraged, though, don't let that stop you, because if I could have writer's block 3 times and then write a whole novel and have another book come in, you can too. I'm telling you, don't let none of that stop you.
Thank you. See, I need that encouragement. I don't get that a lot. People are like, why are you writing a book for? I'm like, well, why are you talking to me? No, but
that's why they try to put their limitations on you.
That's the thing. I never understood that. Why? I never understood that. It's like, it's just my thing, because I've never been like a reader per se, but if I have something I want to say, I will write it down. I do poetry, I would have like a little journal and things like that. But with the book, like I said, that came from last year with George Floyd when he was murdered. And like that day, I just started writing this book, and I was just angry. You talk about angry, you talk about bitter. I had to really tone it down because I couldn't publish it for what I was saying. But I had like a lot to say, and even before that happened, I wanted to write a book. But I wanted to write a book on African American culture and society. So kind of like morph into that, as well as what happened with him, which also touched on slavery, Black Lives Matter, what they don't teach you in school. So kind of was like not just about George Floyd, it's kind of different aspects of being Black in America, the history books and what they don't teach you, the monument. So kind of is like a little mini different stories, like you said, in one big story. Like the George Floyd murder was like the backbone of it, but I didn't just focus on that. I talked about Black Lives Matter, police, Trump, all these different things. So it's kind of like, I think I just had like a lot to say in that book. So it's kind of like my thoughts that I couldn't really say in the world, but I put it down on paper, if that makes sense. So that was my motivation. And I should write a second book, but I'm like, that was a lot of work. But no. No, but yeah, but I commend you. Like I said, we need more people, more African American, not even just African American sisters, brothers, what have you, but just the millennials, I guess you want to call us, doing things that are just not for Instagram. And that's why I said I came off social media, because it was just exhausting to be on there and see, like I said, the same thing. People about the same thing and just retweets and subtweets and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what are you really doing on here outside? Just trying to get that bag. And I felt like all I was doing was just people watching and getting mad that I wasn't where they were. But all I was doing was just watching. I wasn't actually doing anything. So I just had to cut it off at the knees and be like, I don't need this. And like I said, when I came back in the new year, it was the same thing. So I'm like, it's refreshing to not have to worry about, did I miss that tweet, or did I miss that post, or who's talking about me, or who's this person talking to, or should I block you? And that would be the thing. I'm like, should I block you or should I not block you? I'm like, I'm 27. I'm still worrying about blocking somebody. So it was like, it was just draining, because like I said, I would be one of those people who would overthink. Like I'm an overthinker when it comes to like everything in life. Yeah, it's frustrating, bro. And I'm like, why am I putting so much stock on this app? Or why am I putting so much stock on what other people are saying when I could be doing other things that are more fulfilling for my soul? My mind was just kind of like pulled all over the place. I'm like, this is not healthy. At 27, like there has to be a cutoff. It needs to be a cutoff age when you're not worried about it. Yeah. So I had to cut off at the knees, but now I'm using it for the right reasons. Like I felt like all I was doing was just retweeting and liking posts. I wasn't really doing anything. So now I'm using it for my podcast, for my music, for networking and things like that. And I think everybody should do that, whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it should be how it used to be, I guess, back in the day. Now it's just a mess. I don't mean to preach. I don't mean to preach, but that was just my 2 cents on social media. So.
No, trust me. I know I get on my family's nerves with my rants about social media. My family is on here. Shout out to y'all. Got my parents on here. And yeah, I always ask them, like, how was it, like, back in the day, you know, without this, or, like, certain situations. I'm like, wait, before social media, how would this be in? Yeah, so I always have those curiosities, but I definitely agree with you, because it's like, I really don't like being on social media, but I feel like we have to, because that's just how the world is today.
Yeah,
and that's how you keep up with current events. You know, people keep up with what you're doing, you keep up with what they're doing. And I really just try not to be on here enough to even let my mind wander to compare myself to somebody.
Right.
And I know that's a lot easier said than done, because it's just like, you know, everything is there. Like, you know, this person's traveling, this person just had this huge accomplishment. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, what have I done? But I look at it like, it's always going to be somebody that's not doing as well as you, somebody doing just as well, somebody better off. So, and that's really just the diversity aspect. So that's really how I look at it. And every now and then I'll take like a social media detox.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know you took one a lot longer than I have. But, yeah, that's really hard though, because it's like for a whole year or so, like that's a long time. But that's good that you got back on there and promote yourself, because that's really what it should be for, instead of just posting stupid memes all day, or, you know, just not really using it to elevate yourself or your online image. So that's what's up.
Because I feel like you said, I wish we could go back in time where we can actually talk to people and network versus just like sending somebody through Instagram your whole life story. I'm like, I don't know you. So it's just, I don't know, I guess. And people still use Facebook. My parents still use Facebook. I didn't even know that was still a thing. People still use Facebook. So I was like, I guess that's a good way. But do you feel like if, like, with social media, at least for me, like I said, it was like my baby, and I would always want to be on it, and it's like I was missing like every little thing from like sun up to sundown, but I feel like I didn't get anything from it outside of anxiety, if that makes sense. Like after all that, all I got from it was just tiredness, like draining, literally draining. And I feel like with doing the podcasts, if I could just do them audio, I would, but I do kind of like the lives. It's new for me, like I said. I'm still learning on how to do this whole podcast thing, but I do prefer doing the lives because I feel like it's a little more personal with what you're saying versus just listening to it, in my opinion, because you can see the reaction or what you're talking about. But going back to what you said earlier, it is a little draining talking for like an hour, and I wish that I could like box it into like 20-30 minutes, but it's just like, I got a lot to say. I'm like, this is my only time on social media to like vent it, and then like for the rest of the week I'm off. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm only on once a week. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to find a balance. And even now I don't see much of a change. Even being on it once a week, I still feel like I'm still here where I need to be like way up here. Like I said, comparing myself to other people. And I feel like even now, and I preach and compare yourself to other people, but I'm still doing it. And I'm trying to like get out of that funk where I'm like, well, if I'm doing the same thing you're doing, why are you getting success out of it and I'm still here? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I've tried not to compare myself to other people, but I'm like, if we're doing the same thing, podcast, book writing, music, whatever you want to call it, but it's like, what are you doing that's different than what I'm doing? If we're starting at the same level, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it's a networking thing. I don't know.
Yeah, with that, you just gotta really look at it like everybody's timing is different, and everybody reaches their goals at different times. Yeah. And plus, you never know how they got to where they got to as well. I look at that because you know, like not everybody gets to where they want to be in the most honest way. So you could be going about it and with pure intentions, while somebody else may be stepping on somebody else's toes to get to that goal quicker.
That's true.
So yeah, that's how I look at it. Never compare, because they're not going to tell you that social media is really just a highlight reel of your life. So they're not going to say, "Oh, guys, I got this promotion," or "I got this," or, anything. But so
yeah. See, it's good advice. Like I'm saying, we do talk about this on our Bible study, but it's just nice to hear it more so than like. I'm one of those who needs to hear it more than once, and then I'll start to believe it. Like if you're saying this is this, I'm like, okay. But if you're just saying it just because I'm telling you how I'm feeling at the moment, then I don't feel like it's genuine. But if multiple people at multiple different times are telling you this is how it is, and just, be patient. Then I'm like, all right, maybe I should just chill and just accept what I have versus like wanting more than I can chew, because I'm like, I'm trying to get to the finish line before I even, start the race. So it's a journey because I'm so impatient. It's not my trait, so, but, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else. Like I said, I didn't want to take too much of your time, and I didn't want to make this too long because it is Easter. But if you wanted to talk about just whatever, that's cool too. Like I said, it's usually just me talking, so it's a refreshing to not have to talk the whole time.
Gotcha. So every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I launch a new episode of the Flourishing Footsteps Podcast, and it's really just motivational messages, encouragement, and I try to diversify the episodes to where everybody can get something different out of it, because I know there's different people worldwide and different walks of life listening. So I try not to make it like strictly just like one subtopic.
Yeah.
And I really just try to make it as fast as possible. Like,
I see. Yeah.
I'm really big on like discernment and really big on like, just like decoding different things in life, and some things that I may have learned, or just things that older people may have taught me over the years. So I really just try to just teach, because it's like me and my friends would have like these super deep conversations about so many different topics, and I'm just thinking like, this could be on a podcast. Like, why don't you converse about it? And I'm just really glad that I did it, because I was so hesitant last year, and I remember talking to a podcaster, and she was saying, "Oh, do you have one?" And I'm like, "No, like I would, but I don't think I could be consistent." Mm-hmm. But then again, I tried to just work on good time management skills, because you could do anything. It's just if you really want to.
That's true.
And my schedule has been super busy, but if I want to do that podcast, I'm going to be time for it, and I'm glad that I have been doing that. And I'm so proud to say that next week is going to be my 50th episode.
Girl.
Consistent, so I'm just really, really happy about that, because I didn't think I could do it. So I'm just glad to just overcome that leap of just not doubting myself, and just knowing that if I clear out, just anything else, like I look at it like, if I have 3 hours to scroll on Instagram, I can have 3 hours to do something productive.
That's true.
And that's why, like, I try not to tell myself like, oh, I don't have time. Like, I get it. Like, it's okay to say you don't have time if you're doing other productive things.
Right.
But if you're scrolling on Instagram all day and just like, just not doing anything, like I can see if it's posting all day for like promotion or something, but just doing something leisurely and not getting anything out of it, you have time to do other things.
Right.
So I'm just really hard on myself as far as that. And every Friday, like I try my best, and sometimes it's hard. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's so hard to be consistent, but I just feel like somebody out there is really getting blessed from it. And also notice every week, like literally, no lie, the second I publish the episode, because Anchor does it automatically. Yeah. But I already had one play at like 10:01. Yeah. And it aired at 10. So I'm like, okay, I'm spiritually feeding somebody.
Somebody's getting that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I can't give up, because I have no clue who that is, but whoever it is, they're enjoying it, so they're waiting and for it to air. So that's really what keeps me going. But I just want to drop some gems too. Just be consistent in anything you do. Don't compare yourself to other people, and really just see life as if like it's your world, but everybody else is living in it. I forget where I heard that from, but I think it was a podcast or a motivational speaker, but that really stood out to me, because I listen to a lot of encouraging things, so I forget who said what sometimes. Yeah, that's just something that I'm a firm believer in, and always have humility, always treat people with kindness and respect, regardless of where you are. Like, you can be at your pinnacle, never look down at nobody, always uplift others, and never let what other people say get to you, and really just just have tunnel vision when it comes to the world, because the world has so many distractions and just nonsense, and like you say, social media, that's a huge distraction today. So just have tunnel vision past anything that doesn't serve you, because that's how you're going to uplift yourself. So
see, I'm telling you, I needed that, so thank you for that. So do you like with your faith, because you are Christian, right? Correct?
Yes.
I don't want to assume. Okay, so you're a Christian, right? So do you feel like with your faith and what you believe, or like the journey you're on right now, is the same where you were when you started the podcast. Where you said it's your 50th. Congratulations on that episode. Do you feel you were the same then than you are now? I mean, it sounds. People always say, "Oh, I'm changing every day," but like, do you really feel like you have changed, or you're seeing things, or walking down different paths from the beginning of this journey till now? Because I can say I have, like I said, somewhat getting a little more confidence than I was in the beginning now. So, I mean, it's like baby steps, They are great steps too, the baby steps. We don't look at it that way, but they are big accomplishments as well. So.
Yeah, I would say no, I'm not the same person last year because I'm always growing. Like, I'm an avid reader. I love reading books and different things, and I just always love to learn. I feel like if I'm not learning, I'm remaining stagnant, which I don't allow myself to do. So I would have to say no to that one, thankfully, because like I said, learning is what helps you grow, and that's the whole gist of my podcast is to help people grow. So if I'm not growing myself, how can I air episodes where I'm trying to help other people grow?
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, if I'm still talking about the same, or not talking about, still feeling the same way I was in episode 2, and it's episode like 29 now. It's like, what's the point? But it's like, what are you really saying? You're just saying words, but not living by it. That's the thing too. You can be saying all these things and wanting people to, exceed their expectations, but what are you doing? It's just like a front for the show, or are you actually abiding by what you're saying? That's what I've tried to do with every episode, or even with my readings, or just every day. I try not to be the same person I was when I started the day or at the end of the day, because I feel like you feel better and it heals your soul. And, like we said in the Bible study, have a pure heart. And sometimes when we're so focused on like next year, we're like missing and not enjoying what we have, right in front of us. Yes, which like I said, I'm still trying to learn that, because I'm like, I don't want to be here when I could be there. But it's like, God knows why you're here where you are and why you're still here. You can want to get, 4 or 5 months down the line, but if you're still going to be the same person then what's the point of rushing if you're just not learning or taking anything, out of the daily little nuggets, as I call it, the daily nuggets. So.
Yeah, definitely. You just gotta find joy where you're at. Because I feel like when you let yourself not, like, I don't want to say be miserable, but not be happy.
Yeah.
I should say, like, where you're at. It's like, how can you expect growth to come out of like a not happy mindset with what you're doing? So, and I feel the same way. Like, my goal is to become famous with my poetry.
Yeah.
And even though I think I'm okay now, I know I still but I just think like, okay, well, I can't be like, oh gosh, like, why aren't I famous now? I just try to be content. I'm like, okay, I put that video out, or I may not have practiced today, but I'll practice a little later on. I'm doing something else now, and I just try not to beat myself up and compare myself to other folks. Yeah. And like we were saying, social media and just like our natural human minds, that's so much easier said than done. But that's why I listen to so much encouragement, because I feel like at this point in my life, since I'm juggling so many different things, I need as much encouragement as I can get. Yeah. So, yeah, like when I work out, I could be washing dishes, anything. Like, I'll just put on a podcast episode or anything. It's, just encouraging yourself throughout the day. That really just keeps your mind off of even wanting to compare yourself to other people. Because it's like, okay, well, I'm doing a great job. I gave today my all. And that's all that matters. What they got going on over there is not my business. So, yeah. So
do you feel like poetry was like not like an outlet, but like I know people have reasons for like writing poetry. Like for me, like I said, I was very shy, so I was able to like show and express my feelings in writing without worrying about getting rejected. That was my thing, because I was big on being sensitive to like criticism or rejection, and I felt like I didn't have a voice because I was like, if I say this thing, I'm going to offend somebody, and I was always big on making sure I wouldn't hurt other people's feelings. And always putting mine to the side, because like I said, that's just how I was. So for me, I would always write my stuff down and just be like, okay, I wrote it out, I got it out. Let me close the book and go on about my business. But still, the root of the issue was still there. So, and as time has gone on, I've gotten a little bit better at expressing myself without like yelling or screaming. But do you feel like poetry was like not an scapegoat, but like an outlet for not having that voice, but like what was going on during your time, and poetry is healing. I always say music, poetry, writing, artists are always healing. So, like your journey with that, if you don't mind, discussing that for a little bit.
You're good. I feel like it was an escape because I was always very quiet and shy, and I just didn't really have a way to express things. Like, I feel like when I write, those are things that I wouldn't dare to say before when I still was shy. And I was always a very sensitive person.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of my poetry is like my true feelings on paper, or just what I'm speaking when I'm on stage. And also, it comes out of an insecurity of like being. This will probably sound weird, but like being.
No.
It's like, you know, like I said earlier, I'm an avid reader, and I've always been like, I like to use a lot of big words. I'm fancy. Like I have like a childlike approach to learning. And I was like, wait, what's that big word? Like, what? How do I use that? It's like I would use that around certain people, and they would kind of look at me like, what? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I didn't want to feel like I had to dumb myself down just to be more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people are like, oh, I never heard that word before. Some people would appreciate it. They're like, oh, wow, I never heard that. And I'm about to start using that word. You know, you taught me something. Thank you. Yeah. So you get mixed reactions from different people. But, really, in my poetry, I use a lot of big words. And I even use some Greek words too. Like one of my favorite Greek words is philosophia, and that's self-love in Greek. And I use that in a lot of my poetry because at one point I had no self-love. I was completed.
Yeah,
it feels so good to have it down. It's just like I can fearlessly speak my mind through rhymes in front of people, and this is kind of like me feeling like I can drop that barrier where it's like, okay, if I use this big word, like I don't want to assume everybody I talk to is dumb.
Right.
You know, they may not know, just like there's things that they may know that I don't. Right. But I don't like it when somebody doesn't know something, they try to point the finger at you like you're weird, just because of their ignorance.
Yes.
So I feel like the poetry, that's really the way to escape that, because it's like, okay, you know, it's big words, even if they don't understand it, it's rhyming, they're bobbing their heads, feeling it. And then they're like, wow, like, you know, I may not have understood what you said here, but that's something that really touched me. Yeah. So it's really covering up my insecurity of just using big words. Because, you know, when you read, you learn a lot. And I just like to spill that into my poetry. It's like a waterfall from my mind.
Yeah. So are you like, you not like you love learning, but like when you're reading.
I do.
Okay, so like we don't have that in common. No. But do you feel like when you're writing the poetry or you're reading, you're absorbing? It's like some people who read it, who love to read, they're like in a whole different world, like a kid in a candy store. Is that how it is for you? You're reading and learning new things, you know, every day and stuff like that.
Yes, like my cousin used to call me a nerd. I do not care. It's like even down to like, oh my gosh, I am the worst at the bookstore. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Just to use your example, like I'll be looking for, oh my gosh, George Bernard Shaw. Sister Soldier, oh my gosh, like, and then me and my mom were in the store one day, and they had all these books, and I'm just sitting here like browsing the aisles, and then that's when I got like about like 10 or 12 new books, and mind you, I already have a whole lot of books that I still haven't read yet, or sorry, didn't even finish, and my mom just looking like, are you really going to read all of these books? I'm like, yes, I am. It might not be now, but eventually. So even though I may be geeky or nerdy to some people, I'm here because this is me. And this is all a part of me just having that philosophy love.
Okay. So I have one more question, but I'm going to save that for the end. I know you said, do you have any poetry? I know now with COVID, everything's kind of like whacked, but I know a lot of people are doing some things online, like the Poetry Slam. Did you attend that? What was it, a couple months ago? Was it the Dodge Poetry Festival? Have you ever attended that online? Well, it was in person, but with COVID, they made it online. They do it every year. I can't remember the month, so forgive me. I can't remember the month, but every year at the Dodge Poetry Festival, they'll have different poets on, artists on, and not just with poetry, but with music, singing, dancing. So I would recommend that. I'll send that to you so you can check it out. It's usually in person. Yeah, it's usually in person, I believe, in North. But since COVID, they did it online, and it was like a 4 or 5 day event. So I'll send you that, and they do it every year, so it's not like just this time. But I definitely recommend. Yeah, I'll definitely send that to you so you can like join and tune in, because it's really cool, it's really powerful. They had a lot of older people doing things, like, you know, 50, 60-year-olds, some 9-year-olds, and different dances and things like that. So it's very cool, especially if you want to try something different. I would recommend doing that. So I'll send that to you so you can see that. But I was going to ask also with that, do you have any poetry right now that you wouldn't mind reading, or is it like too like personal, like it's something new you're still working on? Or because I'm like one of those, like I have a ton of books for poetry, but I'm like, I'm never going to hear it. So I wasn't sure. I need to start like letting people hear what I have to say, because I'm like, I do have a voice, but I just need to get to the point where I'm comfortable when I say these words, accepting either if they like it or if they don't. I'm not there yet, like I said, but I'm getting there slowly. So just bear with me.
It's that's all the confidence training.
Yes.
Yeah, message out there worldwide. But yeah, to answer your question though, definitely I got some poetry. I'll perform out 2 poems if you don't mind.
Sure, no, go ahead. Let me just stop this because it's already 30 minutes again. I really hate this anchor. Only that part. Everything else is cool, but just that one part. All right, go ahead.
All right. This one is called Keys to Wealth. So it goes like this. One key to having wealth is having your assets pay for your liabilities. This is the echelon to ultimate freedom and stability. I highly encourage you to utilize the asset of humility in order to pay for the liability of hostility. I just want you to smile, live in abundance, and drop some gems in the comments if you're feeling me. I also recommend that you do some self-inventory. Find the good in the story, your relation territory, put your thoughts in categories while you're adamant in all this. So rather 1% of bliss and glory. Would you do that for me? Or most importantly for yourself? Desire for loss and love, and self-fulfillment before monetary wealth? Because for Lavaria, for the love of money, you destroy your mental health. Just pay for the liabilities of the lies, and failed tries, and skies, and living 2 lives with the assets and no soul debts, self-respect, and no regret. Put as much effort into getting your soul right, like you do with getting your money right.
Girl. Woo! No, me my snaps. Me my snaps.
So that was Keys to Wealth, and then I have one more. So
yeah, no.
Talking about my hair.
Okay.
And it goes like this. Excuse me. Her hair is beautiful, but before she didn't realize this, she looked in the mirror, and an expression of disappointment would cover her face, and she would hiss. Disappointed, wishing that she was mixed, was on top of her wish list. Previously not proud of her African-American hair, this part of her life was a total nightmare. Social media's beauty standards made her unaware of her beautiful hair. She thought that the way her hair looked devalued her as a person. She thought that her hair was too short and happy, and this didn't make her happy. When she get extensions, her self-esteem would skyrocket to another dimension. She came to the realization that she has to love her own hair and have more self-admiration. Hair wraps, scarves, and wearing hoodies constantly were getting old. How could she help it though? The comments like, you don't have good hair, or your hair is so short is something that she was told. Temporarily, it planted a seed of self-hate, wishing that she wasn't only black. When she crossed the bridge of self-love, she realized that self-hate is the only thing that she should let. Going natural was one of her best decisions. She wore her crown proudly. Finally, she has risen. Her foreign mentality ruined her individuality, making her compare her hair to others. Her hair, she no longer wanted to cover. Going natural made her feel so free and never wanting to go back. Moving forward, she'll never return to that self-hate trap. Her black girl magic won't allow it. That's forbidden. For a while, her true desires concerning her hair were hidden. She wanted to like her hair, and many people tried to change her mind. However, her mind was made up, and that was the bottom line. She'd appreciate it if others stated their opinion about her decision while still being kind. There's sometimes negative comments about her hair, but when she's fresh out the salon, whoo, they can't help but stare. Bantu knots, pinups, her crown styles are so interesting and creative. It reminds her of the fact that from the motherland, she and her ancestors are natives. Thank you.
Girl, oh my goodness. See, the thing is, that was amazing. I forgot my snaps. There we go. Snaps. Snaps. And the thing, it's so refreshing to hear somebody who has poetry on different basts of the subject at hand. And that is a big thing, because I've gone through that too with not being accepted with your hair being in braids or cornrows, if it's straight, if it's curly. And people would always ask me, are you mixed, or is that your real hair? Ever since I was young, they were always pulling it and be like, is that your real hair, or is those your real eyes? They would never understand that a black girl could have straight hair, or who can have colored eyes and not be mixed or whatever. They never understood that. I'm like, yes, this is my real eyes. Yes, this is my real hair. Because I kid you not, ever since I was like 8, because before I would straighten my hair, I would have the big old braids. Your mom would do one braid here and one braid here, and I would rock that because you're just a kid. And then it didn't happen until I got older, and people were like, "Is that your real hair? Are you really, black? Are you really mixed? Is that extensions?" I'm like, "No, it's just my hair." And then I would always not wear my hair curly because people would be like, "Your hair is too wild, it's big, it's huge, curly, like an afro." Or your hair is wild, it's too curly. It's like I never found that niche in the middle where to be accepted. If I had my hair straight, people would still question me. Or if I had my hair curly, they would say, "Oh, you look ghetto or you look nappy." And it was just like, but it's just hair. It's my acceptance, right? Exactly. And my mom's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine, blah, blah, blah." But I'm like, people are still doing it to this day. I'm 27 and people still don't believe that my eyes are real and my hair is real. I'm like, yes, black people could have straight hair without having 1,000 chemicals in it. And black people can have different color eyes without it being some voodoo magic. Like I'm like, it's just, and I say it like that, but it would be really frustrating. Even when I was younger, my mom would say when I was in the stroller, white people would come up to her and saying, "Is that your baby? Or are those your real eyes?" My mom would get pissed because it'd be like, "Y'all see us standing here, right? Two black parents. My mom's light skin, my dad's dark skin. And I was whatever color I was. My eyes would be blue when I was younger. They were just blue." And they never understood that. And she would get so upset because they would never believe that they could, create that. And that I think also stemmed into me being shy. I would always have my head down when I was growing up and speak very, very softly, not making the eye contact. And then when I did, it would be all that. So I think that's probably where it stems from. So I say all that to say it's so refreshing to have you speak on things that, like I said, we want to speak about. That's going on in the world that no one wants to talk about because it's like a sensitive topic, but it's facts. And it's what people are dealing with in school, or football players who have to cut their hair because it's too whatever on the team, or kids who are being made fun of because their hair is not as long as their neighbor. You have little braids or the beady beads, as they call it. But it's just like, black is beautiful. Any nationality is beautiful, but black people always have to be like on the outside looking in, talking about, well, if you do too much or if you say too much, then you just need to calm down. Like, that black woman syndrome, as I call it. Like, so, and it's sad because it's just 2021, right? Yeah, 2021, and we're still, I'm like, I couldn't remember. And we're still dealing with that. And it's just, your poetry is amazing. I'm just like, man, we need more people to discuss that and just have that conversation on that topic, because that is a thing. I mean, there's different levels to it, but I can relate to both of those poems you read because I have gone through that, and it's still to this day, they just don't believe me. So now I just say, no, it's not real. It's weave. And they still pull it and they don't believe it. So I don't win. I don't win. So I like that. But so the two I heard, I know you said you have different, you write different things in different venues. So are these two recent ones you did, or these are just in your library?
The first one, that one I wrote, I believe, last summer, somewhere around there. And then the second one, that one I wrote, that was about 3 years ago, because that one is actually in my first book of books in the world. Okay. Yeah. So age-wise, they have a little gap. Yeah.
But, no, it's still powerful. As I was like, wow, it's still powerful. It still resonates to this day. So where could we find your books? And did you publish in every poetry? I mean, I know you said it's in your book, but outside of your book, is it like on its own platform, or is it just in your books?
No, I have some poetry in my books. Well, yeah, I guess you could say my books, because in 2020 Vision, I have some poems too, but I don't perform them. That was just like relative to the character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But so you could find my books on Amazon. You could look me up on Amazon at Tasha Norman, and that's TAHJANORMAN, and you'll see both my books pop up, and that's how you can purchase. Mm-hmm. And normally, if you follow me, you could check me out. I normally vend at different farmers markets. I'm normally at Cowtown. I'm trying to just like get to different ones as well, just to reach different demographics. Yeah. But I mostly go to Cowtown and different like vending events as well. So if you guys just follow me, you could just see whenever I have different things like that going on. Okay. And as far as the poetry, I haven't copyrighted it, but I would like to, just to like take it to the next level. Yeah. So, yeah, that's really what I have coming up in the near future.
Cool. So, also the Dodge Poetry Fest, but also if you want to, I think they started opening back up. It's open mic night. They have it at a coffee shop down in what's the school? I'm gonna send it to you because I'm not gonna give the wrong city. But anyway, they do because my mind's all over the place. Open mic night at can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna get it to you. But anyway, they do poetry. They'll have music. They'll have performances, and it's usually every Friday at 7. So I'll send that to you. So you should definitely check that out. They were open in the beginning, and then they closed briefly. But then one of my artistic friends, he's a rapper, singer, and I just saw that he did a show last Friday. So I think they're back open at the coffee shop. So I'll send that to you. So you can definitely check it out. I mean, they have different people playing music, guitars, dancing, poetry, and I think it's a cool way because because the millennials there. You know what I'm saying? You can also network. They have tables you can network and stuff like that. If you have cards, if you have just your Instagram handle or poetry on the spot, you can do it, and it's a cool little vibe. It's like from like 7 to like 10, I think, every Friday. So I can send that to you, and it'll come to me the town because it's not far. Because I've been there a couple of times. I just can't remember right now. It'll come back to me soon, but it's close. It's like 20 minutes or so from where I live, and I live in Essex County by North, so it's like 20 minutes from there. But
that's not 2 hours for me.
It's 2 hours from you. You said you live by where? Or live where?
I'm in Sickville.
Might be a little bit far, but I'll still send it to you just in case. They've been doing it for like a year or so, some change, and I think they're going to be moving to different spots. But I know for right now they're just at this coffee shop because it's outside for COVID, so you're not near anybody. But I'll definitely send it to you. You can definitely check that out because it's pretty cool. Yeah, no, of course, because I didn't know about all these artists that were in New Jersey till I came to this thing. I just came to support a friend, but there's some talented people there. People who just started, people who are trying to do different things. New Jersey artists, a lot of New Jersey artists, underground artists that I didn't know about. They're here, and they don't have any way to so. It's artists supporting artists and things like that. Especially the weather's getting warmer, so definitely be a good look to be outside.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be all the vibe all summer long.
That's the thing. It's like I want to enjoy the summer because it's like right on the corner. But at the same time, it's like this COVID thing. It's just still right in your face. You gotta be like cautious and try to have fun. But then I don't know. So I don't know. How are you doing with this whole COVID thing? I know people keep saying, oh, it's going up, it's going down. But people I've noticed are still acting like it just disappears. Like it just disappeared. Like the restrictions are up. Because I was reading something that Governor Murphy put that he lifted some of the restrictions for outside venues. So I was just want to know your thoughts on this whole situation. Because I talk to people who are like still in their house, who haven't left. Or there are people who are out and about traveling or eating outside or inside. But I've talked to people still to this day who have not left their house, who are not playing. So they're like, I'm not playing, which I get it. Trust me, I do. But it's like, you got to like have some normalcy a little bit, right?
I agree. But I'm handling it pretty okay. I just wear my mask, try to keep hand sanitizer, stay clean, wash my hands.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard not to give people hugs when you see them and show love. That's really the part that I struggle with. I'm a hugger. But other than that, I'm handling it pretty well. I'm finishing out my last semester at Bowie State virtually. I don't prefer that way, but of course, obviously, I didn't have any control over that because of the pandemic. So other than that, it's going pretty okay. It's unfortunate, but I think it was really good just because everybody could kind of like slow their minds down and really just like focus on the present. But and about Governor Murphy, I feel like it really didn't matter either way if you did open up outside venues because people were going to be out.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that like it's not a pandemic.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I feel like we're just never going to get out of this loop. We're like right at the end, but it's like we're just stuck in this loop, in my opinion. I don't know. People act like it's not here, or they do, but then they go to like party or have barbecues. I'm like, but we're just almost there. I promise you. I don't know. I just think. So do you feel, my mom was saying to me, rewind. My mom was saying this to me the other day. She thought that during this whole time, like you said, people would have a different change of heart, like they would open their minds and their eyes to different things. But do you feel like people actually really have changed since the beginning? Because my mom feels like it's all about the heart, like everything that's going on, COVID, the stuff at the Capitol, Trump, all this stuff. And she feels like it's the mind of the heart, like people's hearts need to be, like she says, more open or not as hard. And I feel like she puts a lot of stock in people, like expectations in people, thinking that this was a time to heal and reflect and regroup. But I feel like it was always there. It's just been in our face because we have nowhere to go. But I've asked people this. So I want to know your opinion. Do you think this time that we've had in lockdown, essentially, really did change people's hearts, or it was just kind of just really showed you more, I guess, what they are, what they're capable of? Because I feel like if you put too much stock in people, your expectations will always be not exceeded, in my opinion. Because it sounds morbid. Don't like I'm a little jaded, so don't mind me. But I feel like if you don't put stock in people, then they won't have a chance to support you. That's just me, so don't mind me. But I want to know your opinion on that. You should have heard my Valentine's Day special. I was so bitter and angry. I said, if you're in love and if you have a date tonight, don't listen to this because I'm a little jaded. But that's just me. So.
Yeah. I actually agree with that. I think that people did really have time to like check their hearts and really just see what they're capable of. Because I feel like you said, like everything is like kind of smack in our face. Like we have no choice but to kind of do like that self-reflection. Because it's just like, you know, especially the people that you said haven't left their house in a year. I'm pretty sure they did stuff like that and self-reflection. Because it's just like, what else is there to do if you're not leaving the house?
Right.
So whenever you're bored in the house, your mind starts wandering, you think about different things. So it really just depends on, well, I should say it really depends on like where their mindset is at and what they want out of life.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I asked different people, different age groups, essentially, because I'm like, I feel like it was always there, and people kind of always are how they are. They just had more time to either prove you wrong or prove you right. But like I said, I'm jaded, so don't listen to me. So it's just, that Valentine's Day special episode I did was like an hour and some change, and I was just like, because I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day. Are you a fan of Valentine's Day? Are you one of those who likes, oh my God, this day is amazing, give me flowers? Or you're like, it's just a day?
It's just a day, but I actually rather celebrate the day before. Not too many people know this, but February 13th is National Black Love Day.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, so I'm not in a relationship, but if I was, I'd rather celebrate the 13th instead of the 14th.
Okay, and see, I'm going to do that next year. I did not know that. You know that's not on the calendar. So it's not on the calendar. Yeah, I guess you can chalk it up to bad experiences, but now it's just more so it's like, I never understood that day as I got older because it's like y'all were arguing for like 6-7 months up until the 13th. So magically on the 14th, y'all are okay. Y'all are going to have so much fun. Y'all are going to do this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And then when the clock strikes 12, y'all going to be back to this. Like, it's just like I said, I'm very jaded. So I just never understood. Like, I used to love the flowers and the candy and teddy bears. And I like you, like me, yes or no. Check. But it's just like, I think it's just because I had bad experiences. Do you have time? Because I'll tell you them real quick. They're funny, but they're bad at the same time. You have time to hear them real quick? Okay. So my first Valentine's Day, outside of, in middle school, you have to do the cards and the candy. My first Valentine's Day, I broke my foot, my right foot, on the date. At the end of the date, it was raining. We were having fun. Blah blah blah. The date, he parked his car too close to my house. It was on the sidewalk. So when I got out, my foot did this on the sidewalk and I fell on the ground. Mind you, I was in like heels like this big and it was raining. So I'm on the ground crying and screaming. He's still in the car, mind you. He never got out. He thought I just disappeared. He was still in the car, right? My mom hears the car pull up and she comes out with the umbrella because it was raining. I forgot my umbrella. So mind you, my foot is hurting. I'm crying and I'm raining and my hair is doing this. So I'm hobbling to the fence. She sees me. She's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? He's still in the car, mind you. He never got out. He's still in the car. She comes to me, gives me the umbrella. And I said, oh, my foot's broken. Then he comes out, runs around the car. And it's like, oh, my God, I didn't know you fell, blah, 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 blah. Right. That was the first Valentine's Day. Oh, the second Valentine's Day, I broke my foot. I broke my ankle. Again, the same foot, mind you. I was in the parking lot at school, not paying attention. Mind you, this was my fault. I wasn't paying attention. And I fell in the parking lot, again, off of this little cliff, not paying attention. That was on me, whatever. I broke my ankle 1 year, broke my foot the next year, on the same foot, mind you. And I was in a cast in the boot, blah, blah, blah. The same guy I was with never came by to see me at all. I was with the boot for like 15, 20 days. Never came by. Didn't even sit. We were not talking. We were talking heavy the first time, but then we kind of fell off. But the second time, it was kind of like, let's start over, blah, blah, blah. Like, I couldn't really blame you for that. I mean, it was kind of jank what you did, but whatever. Anyway, but the second time, he never showed up. Never came to see me, never did anything, didn't bring any flowers, didn't bring candies, nothing, whatever. Third time, which was last year, the guy I was talking to actually broke up with me on Valentine's Day at dinner. I got all dressed up, which I normally don't do. It's okay. The first time I was like, oh my God, it's Valentine's Day. Love, 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 right? Whatever. The second time I was a little bit annoyed. I'm like, all right, I'll celebrate this day because it's a day. So the third time I'm already annoyed as the day as is because I'm like, something's going to happen. So he broke up with me on Valentine's Day at dinner. And he had the nerve to say, oh, I bought you a gift, but you were so, what do you say? I bought you a gift, but you ruined the night. So here, take it anyway. Mind you, this is on Valentine's Day. The same night, I didn't even leave yet. That was Valentine's Day. So those are my 3 Valentine's Day recently. The other 2 were 2 years ago because I broke my foot in that same year. And this one was last February. And then this February, I didn't do anything because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to curse. It's a Sunday, but you know what I want to say to that day. So that's my experience of Valentine's Day. Like, there's other stories, but for the time being, those are my most recent ones. So I'm like, womp. So with my rant on Valentine's Day episode, I just didn't understand that day because I feel like, and I've known people who argue, who don't like their significant other, but on that day, all the issues just go away for that day. And then on the 15th, y'all are just, it's like a made-up holiday. It's like, why not love the person, the whole year or the whole time? And I feel like sometimes they put a lot of pressure on the guy to do all this one day, and it's not like, what about the guy? What about the guy who wants dinner cooked or wants candy or wants flowers? I don't know. I'm just one of those, like, it has to be equal and fair and not just for that day. Like I said, it was a whole rant. You can listen to it. I recommend not because I was sounding a little bitter, but yeah. That's that. So yes, that's that. So like I said, but I try not to be as jaded because there was a time where I didn't despise that day. And I know people who enjoy love and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just like, I'm more so noticing people how they really are. I guess that's what it is as I've gotten older. So we'll see. I'm currently not in a relationship because I'm like, why? It's COVID. We can't see each other anyway. That's just a waste of time. But that's just me. And people don't understand that when I say I can't because it's COVID. They're like, well, why not? I had to call it a dub. I had to call it. The people are like, oh, but it's going to be forever. I'm like, okay, what's I got to do right now? But that's just me. So yeah, I'm kind of bitter. But it's okay. I'm going to be okay. But anyway, is anything else you would like to add to this story? I didn't want to. Well, okay, we're good. We're still good. We got like 7 or 8 minutes before it cuts off again, so we're good.
No, I can't really think of anything else I want to add on, but I'll definitely check out your podcast. I know you said you don't recommend it.
Just that episode, because that episode. Everything else is fine, but just that episode. Everything else is cool. But I said in the intro where to find you, your handle and things like that. So if you want to add that again, for people who came in later, you can. Instagram and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. So you can follow me here on Instagram at Taj Noor. That is TAHJNORM. And my real name is Taj Norman, but I just shortened it in half. So that's my username. So definitely follow me, and that's how you'll be able to see everything I'm doing with like the books and everything, different vending events, and when I'm performing poetry. So definitely follow me, check me out, check out my work, and tune into my podcast, Flourishing Footsteps, every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And where can we find the podcast? Spotify, Apple?
The link in my bio.
Link in the bio, okay. Your link in the bio, okay, because I don't have a link in my bio. I just say where to find me, so I wasn't sure. Okay, and you use Anchor, so everything, when you click it, it's all right there in your bio?
Yeah, that.
In your bio, it's all right there. When you click the link, you go straight to Anchor.
Yeah, that specific link goes to Anchor, but you can hear it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and various other audio platforms.
Okay, cool. Because I know for mine, I use also SoundCloud and do the live. So I just say, check me out on Gurula, and you can find me. But all right. Well, I appreciate you rapping with me for a little bit. Outside me ranting, outside that rant, that's okay. If I don't have a rant, it's not a good day. So. No, but I definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, you were my first real guest. Like I had my guest on last week, which was great, but you're like my first real guest, another person who I can relate to. So I really appreciate that. It's all about, supporting sisters, women empowerment, things like that. So I'm all about that too. So I appreciate your time and stuff.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yes, and I see in my messages, I don't know if you can see it, your family showed out. So that's always good love. So that's a good look.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming on here and supporting me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, girl. So, so I definitely will listen to your next episode. It's aired, the one on Friday, right? It's out now?
Yeah.
Okay. Like when you air it, is it like the day of? Because with mine, it takes a couple of days. Or does it just air right away? Like when you click
Yeah, it's
post?
automatic.
It's automatic. Okay, let me double check that because mine takes like a minute because I use Anchor too. But I'll double check that. But I'll definitely listen to your next episode. And it's every week, right? Every week or not every other week?
Yes, every week.
Every week? Okay, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on for your sessions.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you.
See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. See. All right. So that was your girl, Taj Norm. And I appreciate everybody who joined. I know I did a little longer than I said I would, but like I said, we had a lot to talk about. So I appreciate it. Like I said, always trying to support women empowerment, Black sisters. And like I said, we met on Bible study, group Bible study, Sisters Who Walk Together Bible study. We meet every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Zoom. So definitely check that out. I believe I put it in my last post, the handle on Instagram, but I'll put it in again so you guys can see it. But I appreciate you guys joining and tuning in. Like I said, last week's and the weeks before that episode was like 2 hours. So I try not to make it that long. But again, that was at Taj Norm, and her podcast is titled Flourishing Footsteps. And you can find her episode every Friday at 10 a.m. And she uses Anchor like I do. So it's on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Tune, Beaker, and there's another app that it uses as well. But I enjoyed that conversation. Like I said, I'm learning to try to navigate through being my own entrepreneur, with the headphones and the mic and the doing the lives and labs. Like I said, I do all this at home. I don't have a fancy studio. I do all this at home, as well as the editing. I did not know it was that much work in editing like a podcast or editing like music. Like with music, it's different because I love doing music because I'm a DJ as well. So I love, making music, making tracks, editing it, mastering it, engineering it, and that takes time, but like you just don't notice it because you love what you do. But when it comes to like this podcast, it's always like this part, that part, then you gotta post it here, you gotta post it. It's just a lot. But I can definitely say I'm starting to become a jack of all trades, learning different things, as well as my website too. And I had to build my website. I had a website previously, but I had made a new website that kind of focused on my music, my book, and my podcast. And doing that was pretty fun, pretty challenging. Like I said, I'm trying new things, trying to learn new things outside of just doing music and my podcast. So it's a journey, but I enjoy it. It's fun. So I'm not going to make this too much longer, but I appreciate everybody who did tune in. I hope, was it 7:30 and it's still nice out? No, nice out, still light out. But yeah, I hope you guys had a great Easter, and thank you so much for tuning in with your girl Pure Sessions. Again, this was episode 29. These weeks and these days and these episodes are going by so fast. And this was titled Flourishing Your Footsteps with Taj Norm. So I appreciate that. And you can check my episodes out as well on Anchor. We both use the same platform. Spotify, SoundCloud as well. I do SoundCloud as well. Just the audio, not the live. Google Play, Apple, all that fun jazz. Also on YouTube. I'm also live on YouTube as well at Lana and Pure. Spaces, not like Lana and Pure's Corner, but at Lana and Pure. You can catch every episode at 6 p.m. every Sunday live at Lana and Pure on YouTube and at Lana and Pure's Corner on Instagram. I do have two pages, so it's a little confusing. On Instagram, I have Lana and Pure, which is like my main page where I do like the music and random posts and things like that. You can find my website in my bio. And then on Lana and Pure's Corner, where I do all the lives, so you can check out all the lives every week and Pure Sessions, like little IG live section, so learning that too. So this is episode 29, so definitely check that out, as well as my previous episodes before I did the lives. I think it was up to episode 16, I want to say. They were all audio, but I think 17, there we go. 17 was lives, up to 16 was audio. And on the audio, it was just me discussing my book and reading each chapter each week, which is titled Tajiri, A Conversation on the Truth. I don't mean the truth to touch you in your history class. So definitely check that out as well. It's Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Google Books and all that other fun stuff. You can find that as well. But I appreciate you guys. always, you guys are true gems. And you can catch the next episode live next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your girl, Lana. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Easter and do something today that you didn't do the day before. Have a blessed Sunday, y'all.